Reading of the meeting's notice, please.
The Board of Directors of the School District of the City of Erie, PA will meet in regular session on Wednesday, November 13, 2019, in the auditorium at East Middle School, 1001 Atkins Street, at 6 p.m. by request of the President, Frank Petrunger, Jr.
Thank you. Roll call.
Mr. Spiegel? Here. Mr. Titus?
Here.
Mrs. Alexandrovich? Mr. Castillo?
Excused.
Mr. Fabrizi? Mrs. Feeney?
Here.
Mr. Harkins? Here. Mrs. McNair? Here. Mr. Petrunger?
Here. Pledge of Allegiance led by Ayush Gurung, sixth grade student from East Middle School, introduced by Ms. Sherry Prater, principal, followed by a moment of silence for Edwin Jacobowski, retired Assistant Director of Vocational Education, who passed away on October 13, 2019. Rosetta Manis, retired school psychologist, who passed away on October 15, 2019. Hilda Leon, retired cafeteria worker, who passed away on October 21st, 2019. Rita Kennernecht, retired teacher, who passed away on October 25th, 2019. And Laurel Zogbie, mother of financial administrator Charles Zogbie, who passed away on October 30th, 2019. Ms. Prater.
Ayush Gurung is a sixth grade student at East Middle School. He is in Mr. Hume's homeroom. His parents are Kaimi and Rangeet Gurung. He has one sister, Asta, in the first grade at Deal. What he enjoys most about school is spending time with his friends. He is enrolled in honors classes, and his favorite subjects are math and music. His personal interests include wrestling, in which he plans to try out for the middle school wrestling team. He also participates in the Penn State Barron College Mentoring Program, and his plans for the future is to have a career in engineering or computer programming. Ayush.
Please stand.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and the republic in which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Shake that.
Thank you so much.
That's how he's serious about wrestling for DC. I can do a stand.
Ayush. I'd like to hand out a certificate of appreciation to Jacob Gerline, student representative to the board for October and November from Northwest PA Collegiate Academy. You want to say something? Go right ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President. It's been my honor to serve as the student representative for these last two meetings. In the process, I think I've really learned a lot. So thank you.
We appreciate your time, Jacob. Honor roll presentations to the Erie School Board. Directors John Harkins for 40 years of service, Robert S. Casilla for 12 years of service, Linda Alexandrowicz, Robbie Fabrizi, and myself, Frank Petrunger Jr. for 8 years of service by the Pennsylvania School Boards Association, represented by Mr. Jim Somerville, Member Services Manager. Mr. Somerville will also provide an update on PSBA's program services and upcoming live events.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I am Jim Somerville, and I'm with the Pennsylvania School Boards Association. Ladies and gentlemen of the board, I appreciate the opportunity to come before you this evening, and I especially want to thank Angela Jones for setting up my appointment. Couple of things I'd like to go over with you is I've left a packet of information at each of your desks this evening, and that packet of information contains marketing information that will describe the programs and services and the upcoming live events that are going to be offered to board members across the Commonwealth by the Pennsylvania School Boards Association. This evening, I'm also here to present honor roll awards, and I've also brought Mark Ferrer with me, who is a retired superintendent and is currently serving as an advocacy ambassador in northwestern Pennsylvania on behalf of PSBA. Some of the highlights that I would like to touch on that may or may not be in your packet are a recent crisis communications program that PSBA implemented for all board members and school districts across the state. There is a hotline and an email address that can be contacted in the event that the district had to deal with some type of a crisis, and this is to help you with public relations that usually come together with those types of unfortunate events. The other hot issue right now is new in advanced school board director training. That was a recently enacted law. We are rolling that out in a couple of different ways. You will be able to go online in the near future to complete the coursework, or you'll be able to attend a live event coming up in the near future. Further information about the required school director training is on the PSBA website. Any newly elected board members are required to complete 5 hours of training 1 year from the day they're seated, and re-elected members will have to complete 3 years of training 1 year after by 1 year after they're seated. Another thing coming up for PSBA, and a lot of people don't realize this, but we are the oldest school boards association in the United States. Next year, PSBA will celebrate its 125th year. And I congratulate everybody here for the service to your school district and the greater Erie community. You're all part of that great and rich legacy. You also find on our website what's called a year in learning. What we've done is we have described for you in a very compact publication all of the live events, the online training events, the customized workshops, webinars, et cetera, that will be available to you over the next year. And you can access our website to gain that valuable information for your professional development. There will be an upcoming conference after the first of the year relative to school construction, and that may be something that your business manager, superintendent, or your architect wants to attend. And of course, in January, I hope you all have a great time celebrating School Board Director Month. Without further ado, I'm going to ask Mark Ferreira to come up and give a very brief overview of what advocacy ambassadors do and how they can help the district engage their local legislators.
Thank you, Jim. As a retired superintendent, I'd like to thank you for the time that you put in. I know the countless hours and days the public doesn't realize it. So from my retirement position, thank you for all that you do. As Jim said, I'm an advocacy ambassador, and there are 6 of us in Pennsylvania. So I'm not here to sell you anything. You can take a deep sigh of relief. At your seat, I left 2 pieces of information. I left one that says success starts here, and I left an additional packet with your board secretary and asked that to get to your building level administrators. Success Starts Here comes out every day through PSBA on the website, and this is a tool to get the good news that Erie and every school district in Pennsylvania is doing. Send us pictures, send us snippets, and we'll push it out to the whole state, so you can read about this later, and also my card. But basically, what I'm employed to do is to get the good word out to the public in Pennsylvania, what public education is doing. My section runs from the Ohio line to Erie, to Clarion, down to Indiana, up through Newcastle, and back to the Ohio line. So I have 70 schools that I visit. Again, there's no charge. What we're doing is working with school boards, administrators, and legislators to get the legislators into the school to see the good things that you are doing. Last year, I had Representative Kurt Sonny. He was at Mill Creek, Iroquois, and Northeast. So I'm here to help you, and thank you for the few minutes to address you. But again, there's no charge for our services, and you'll be getting some emails and phone calls from me. So thank you, keep up the good work, and have a wonderful rest of the school year.
Thank you, Mark. One further note on Mark's role, he can help you set up what's called a Show Them What It Takes Day. That would be a program where PSBA, with Mark's intervention, could help get legislators into school. I served on my local school board for 16 years and then worked in public education for several years thereafter. I think it's time we get telling people how well we're doing and we bring them into the schools and show them. So the Show Them What It Takes program is something I think to be an asset to your district. So now, without further ado, I'm going to go forward with the awards, or the honor roll awards. In 1983, PSBA developed an honor roll program for board members. To qualify, you had to have a benchmark number of years on your school board, beginning with 8. At 8 years, you're eligible to receive a certificate, and then again every 4 years thereafter until you hit 24 years, and at that point, you're eligible to receive a plaque. So what I would like to do this evening is I would like to acknowledge people that are going to receive honor roll awards, and there are quite a few of you here. And forgive me if I mispronounce any of your names. We have a certificate of appreciation which reads, "The Board of Directors of the Pennsylvania School Boards Association proudly presents a certificate of appreciation to school directors in the Erie City School District in recognition of ongoing school board service and the long-term contributions of individuals who bring their energy, talent, and values to the guidance of youth and public education in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania." I would like to recognize these people by name. Mr. Petrunger has 8 years of service with the board. Linda Alexandrowitz, I hope I got close anyhow, also has 8 years with the board. Robbie Fabrizi has 8 years with the board, and Mr. Robert Casillo has 12 years with the board. They will all receive certificates, which I will present to them personally in just a minute. Finally, we have one member that's been on the board for quite a while. And this board member is eligible to receive this plaque, which is inscripted, John Harkins, Erie City School District, for 40 years of service. And then it has the PSBA logo at the bottom. And these awards and my comments are brought to you on behalf of the Pennsylvania School Boards Association, our governing board, and our CEO, Nathan Maines. So I really appreciate the time you've given me this evening. Have a great meeting and great continuation of your school year.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, we'll come over. Let's go in front. Yes. Thank you, sir.
We're going around front?
Yep. You got the next one, right?
You did a nice job this evening.
At this point, I would also like to recognize our outgoing board members, Board President Frank Petrunger, Directors Linda Alexandrovich, Robert Casillo, and Robbie Fabrizi. You have led this district through probably one of the most tumultuous times in our history, and you should be very proud of what you've accomplished here in the district. You're leaving it in a much better position than what you found it. And personally, I've enjoyed working with each and every one of you. Mr. Petrunger, we got to know each other very well over the last couple of years and have spent a lot of time together. And we will be missing you in our Tuesday morning executive leadership team meetings.
I appreciate that, I really do.
And I do have a small token of our appreciation. We do have plates that were actually made by our
That's awesome.
career and tech students, recognizing your service. Oh, got names. I didn't know they had names.
That's
I
mine.
got you right.
You got me right. This is Robbie right here.
John, they made you one too, but
Thank you. Very
It just
nice.
says forever on there. Thank you so much.
And Mr. Petrunger, in honor of your service as school board president, we'd also like to present you with this clock, in recognition of your time with us. And
Oh, wow, I
just-
appreciate
Just
that.
remember that it's Tuesdays at 10:30 in my office, if you ever want to stop by.
Thank you, I appreciate that. It's been a pleasure, it really has.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Is now the time when we could make our remarks?
Sure, if you'd like.
Feelings? No. When you go through something, a struggle and many struggles with a group of people like we have, it creates a bond, and not just these last 2 years, but this particular group, including Darlene and Tyler, and Bob's not here, but even going back a few years further, we've dealt with some severe, challenging, difficult things, and we, had our moments of disagreement, but until the last few days, it wasn't that bad. I'm just confessing that these last few days strained my emotions, but we all, as we look back, we're going to remember that this group hung together and gave and took with each other and showed reasonableness and listened to each other and stood together through some very difficult yet important things. And so it's a rare, nice feeling to have been a part of that. And I appreciate Linda, Robbie, Frank, and Bob, and plus those of us who remain. But it's just, it's worth noting that we've been through a lot together, and it creates a bond that I won't forget.
Thank you, I really appreciate that.
And you've been a good board president for 2 years, and it's not easy.
3 years. That's okay.
Well, I'm sorry.
Yes,
If I could just pile on, I know particularly Robbie, you and I had a lot of differences politically about things here and there, but it's always been very respectful, so I certainly appreciate that. I've learned an awful lot from you guys that are leaving, and I want you guys to know that what you guys have instilled in us is going to stay with us, so your legacy will stay and continue to guide the district. It's been an honor working with you guys. And even Bob, who's not here, I mentioned it when he was here in the past, he did a great job when he was board president. A lot of people certainly out there that have no idea how much time and effort, despite all the emails that we get, how much we get paid. We don't get paid anything. We appreciate all the work that you guys have put in and look forward to you guys enjoying your retirement.
thank you, Tom, appreciate that.
Charles and Robbie are going to miss each other.
Darlene.
I just cannot thank all of you enough. You have been remarkable mentors. It hasn't been easy. It was a lot of learning curves, but you've always been there to guide me and support me, and you have built a team. And Frank, you did a really good job of building a team. Even when we disagree with each other, we all respect each other, we all get along, and I think that's because of your leadership.
I appreciate
So I wish you all the best, and I hope you're not strangers. We see you.
Yes. Yes.
I just want to say, I enjoy serving on the board with everybody. Well, you all know me, so so you can laugh about that. I've always been straightforward with you all,
Yep.
and I've always tried to, make sure that we collaborate in a positive way in order to make sure things work out for everybody. So I'm really gonna miss Robbie over here doodling next to me, and I just appreciate, all the things that I've learned so far, being on the board with the people that are leaving and the people that are here currently. And I may reach out to you sometimes to even
Absolutely.
get your opinion or whatever. Well, I will, so you can look forward to that too. So I feel like we're forever connected, and I'm gonna miss you guys.
Appreciate it. I would like to say that it has been a real pleasure. And I hope you all, going forward with new people coming in, stick to what you believe like you've always have. Stick to what you believe, speak your mind, and come to some type of resolution always. What's best for the students of this school district. And I thank you.
Mr. President,
Yes.
although I wasn't going to speak,
Won that bet.
I am going to say a few words. A few people said it, but listen, I've been doing this or been around the school district, part of this organization for better than 40 years. And over those years, well, I'm going to say that the part of being a school director, the best part was to talk to the graduating classes. And I would say to do the best you can with what you have, where you are. And I've tried to live up to that advice over the time that we've been here. When we walked in the door, Linda and Frank and myself, when we walked in the door, we were told that, we were immediately faced with a $26 million deficit. And we're deciding tonight to how to responsibly utilize a surplus of, what is it, $12 million. So financially, I feel successful in what we've accomplished. The final thing is that, what you're going to miss here is the people. And I found a lot of people within the Erie School District over the years that care about kids every day. And I hope you just keep doing that. Thank you.
Yes, Linda.
I just want to say that it's been an honor to work with everybody, and whatever, it's been a challenge, and whatever we think individually, at the end, we always come to a decision that is best for the community and best for the students. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll move on to a presentation by students who participated in Mayor for the Day in honor of Hispanic Heritage Month, introduced by Mr. Ken Nixon, Coordinator of Educational Equity and Diversity. Mr. Nixon.
Good evening. Thank you, Mr. Petrunger. We have partnered with the Mayor's Office to recognize, in honor of diversity, equity, inclusion, and we've been supported through the Mayor's Office outreach liaison, Michael Outlaw. And so what we did last month, we recognized Hispanic American Heritage Month, which ran from September 15th to October 15th. In doing so, we had 4 Hispanic students, all of them either from Strong Vincent East or Wilson. And so we had 2 female, 2 male. And so we had 4 students scheduled to speak tonight. I will say we have 1 brave one. So honestly, we tried. I mean, I got to say thank you to all the principals and the parents because they tried, but a lot of kids just had stage fright. So I will read one, but I wanted to start off with one from tonight. So ladies and gentlemen, if I could bring up Juan Ramos.
Hola, mi nombre es Juan Ramos y estoy en 8º grado en Strong Vincent. Fui seleccionado para ser el alcalde del día por mis 4 maestros. Trabajo muy duro en la escuela y saco buenas notas. Soy en todas las clases de honor y espero ir a la academia colegiada si me aceptan. Mi parte favorita de ser el alcalde del día fue salir a almorzar con el alcalde Schimberg. Fuimos al restaurante del amigo y yo comí una quesadilla. El alcalde me hizo muchas preguntas y descubrí que tenemos mucho en común. Los dos somos jugadores de pelota. En la conferencia de prensa, le di al alcalde una pelota de béisbol de Puerto Rico y él dijo que lo ponía en su oficina. Esto me hizo sentir muy orgulloso. Creo que es muy positivo que el alcalde se tomó el tiempo de escuchar a los gente que viven en Erie. Salí con uno de los policías y él me llevó al lugar. Nos condujimos por Strong Vinson y fuimos a Contrifel. Me mostró el campo de tiro donde practican disparar y él me enseñó mucho sobre ser un oficial de policía. Gracias por darme la oportunidad de ser el alcalde por el día. Soy muy orgulloso de ser estudiante en la Escuela Pública de Erie. Gracias.
Thank you.
Okay.
So this is in English. Hello, my name is Juan. Hello, my name is Juan Ramos, and I am in 8th grade at Strong Vincent Middle School. I was selected to be the mayor for the day by my four teachers. I work very hard in school and get good grades. I am in all honors classes, and I hope to get to Collegiate Academy if they accept me. My favorite part about being the mayor for the day was going out to lunch with Mayor Schimberg. We went to El Amigo restaurant, and I ate a quesadilla. The mayor asked me a lot of questions, and I found out we had a lot in common. We both are baseball players. At the press conference, I gave the mayor a baseball from Puerto Rico, and he said that he would put it in his office. This made me feel very proud. I think it is very positive that the mayor takes the time to listen to teenagers who live in Erie. I got to hang out with one of the police officers, and he took me places. He drove me around Strong Vincent, and we went to Country Fair. He showed me the firing range where they practice shooting, and he taught me a lot about being a police officer. Thank you for giving me the chance to be the mayor for the day. I am very proud to be a student in Erie's public schools. Thank you.
So I just want to thank Juan again for stepping up, and I really appreciate the fact that he read it in Spanish. I think that's awesome. Shows true diversity, and also thanks for bailing us out and giving us English too, because not all of us are bilingual. I know there's many people that are. So I have to eat my words right here because we have a young lady from Wilson. We had a lot of back and forth emails, so that's my fault. But thanks to Mr. Schneider for helping me out. But if I could bring up Yanalise Serrano.
Okay, so I just start. My name is Gianna Lee Serrano, and I was chosen to be mayor for the day in September. My day with Mayor Schember was full of exciting events, and so I wrote a reflection based on my experiences as mayor for the day. My day began when Fire Chief Guy Santone picked my mother and I up from school and drove us to City Hall. When we got to City Hall, I met many wonderful people and shook many, many hands. When we got there, I had got my picture took, and I got a name tag with a special pin saying that I was mayor for the day. After I got my name tag, I met Mayor Schember, and we began to prepare for a weekly press conference I would attend. When the meeting was over, I met many people and shook many, many, many more hands. Then, Mayor Schember drove my mother and I to a grand opening ceremony for a new pharmacy downtown. After this very exciting event, we went to an Athena Award ceremony where we had a delicious meal and met many people, including young entrepreneurs. Toward the end of my day, I got a tour of Erie's police station and the firehouse. At the firehouse, I got a tour of the fire truck. I got to shoot cones with the hose, and I got to go on the ladder of a fire truck. And at the fire station, I met a lot of people, shook a lot of hands, and we got to see the guns and where they shot, shooting rank. Then, my mother and I soon were on our way home. The events I experienced on the 26th of September were very exciting, and I was very, very grateful that I was chosen to be mayor for the day. I'd love to come back and spend the day with the mayor again or any, sorry, thank you, I'm so nervous.
That's all right. Great job.
So I just want to say, you know, I'm very proud of Gianna Lees. She was extraordinarily nervous about doing this. We talked about it on several occasions. She was terrified and on the verge of tears several times over. So I think it would be really cool if we all just gave her a little extra round of applause and encouragement for standing up here and doing this.
And just super quick, I think that it was awesome, you know, and I have to thank Mrs. Abersi because I was kind of wondering, do we want to bring it back and have the students share out about their mayor for the day? She said, absolutely, we want to hear. The school board wants to hear, the families need to hear about what a day is going in the mayor's shoes. So and then the other part of that we did one for Black History Month, and you guys all know the students came back. We also did one in June for New Refugee, but we had the board, we didn't have a board meeting in July. So this is the Hispanic Month. So we're going to continue to do this. And again, we just thank you and appreciate all your support for diversity and inclusion.
Thank you. I'd like to announce that the board met in executive session on Wednesday, November 6, 2019 at the Dr. James E. Barker Leadership Center, 148 West 21st Street in Conference Room 3 from 6:05 p.m. to 7:44 p.m. regarding negotiations and legal personnel matters. On Monday, November 11th, 2019 at Dr. James E. Barker Leadership Center, 148 West 21st Street in Conference Room 3 from 12 to 12:58 p.m. regarding personnel matters. And this evening, Wednesday, November 13th, 2019 in the library at East Middle School, 1001 Atkins Street from 5:15 p.m. to 5:49 p.m. regarding negotiation and personnel matters. Mr. Superintendent.
Mr. President, in the interest of time, I'd like to skip my superintendent's report tonight and have Mr. Nixon come back up to present the Stair Climber Awards.
All righty. If my cards, let's go up front.
Thank you, Mr. Polito. Tonight we'll be joined by Mr. Jesse Williams, our principal from Connell. He'll be supporting the Stair Climber Award. So for those of you that don't know, the Stair Climber Award is when we recognize a student from each of our 16 buildings. How it works is that our principals put out a nomination and the teachers actually vote, and it boils down to one student. So these students that are going to come up were selected based out of, you know, hundreds of adults' decision making. So this is a really big deal. And these students are going to be recognized for improvements in their attendance, in their behavior, and in their classroom performance. So again, I just want to thank everyone from the superintendent and all the way down to all of our teachers in the building and everybody that supports this initiative. And I did want to, before we move into the students, I do want to give a special round of applause for all of our parents and the siblings that came out tonight. If everybody would join me. I do know in advance that we had a few cancellations. We had some families that had conflicts, but we do have a good amount of students here. One thing about this is our second month for this school year, and I will tell you they're very action-packed reasons. So very thankful to be able to read these off to you tonight. From the DePaulo Student Success Center, we have Jazaria Pierce. She is working hard, has completed classes. She is also well-behaved and good attendance. Jazaria Pierce. I'm going to honor every one of our students, even if they're here or not. I believe this young man may not be here, but from Erie High School, Tyler has really become focused this year as a senior. He comes to class and gets right to work. He is also very conscientious with every response he writes. Tyler has made amazing strides so far this school year, and I'm very proud of him. Tyler Gomes. 11th grader from Collegiate Academy. It's his second year in vocal jazz, and he is the only returning male singer. He has been such a positive influence on the new guys and is doing a great job mentoring the other tenor, who's only a freshman. Last week, knowing that we were going to have to make part recordings of all the Valentine music and other pieces we do every year, which is a tremendous task, he took it upon himself to notate the tenor line for most of our songs into a notation program. He used the transcribed music to create part recordings. He uploaded the part recordings into a Google Drive and shared it with me. He told me he will continue to do that throughout the year so that we have what we need for the year and for future years. I never asked him to do this. He simply saw a need and took it upon himself to help out for the good of the entire ensemble. Ladies and gentlemen, Jacob Fayog. From East Middle School, 6th grader, puts forth her best effort every single day, works hard in all subject areas, comes to school ready to learn and perform. Member of the 6th grade girls basketball team, one of only 2 members for 6th grade student council, always pleasant, polite, willing to help, a perfect power student. Ladies and gentlemen, Reyes Anderson. From 6th grader from Strong Vincent. Hardworking, dedicated, and focused on her future are just a few of the notes Kamari Hazel's teachers shared in her nomination. Kamari goes above and beyond academically in all of her classes. Her kindness, grit, and class make her a star at Strong Vincent. Ladies and gentlemen, Kamari Hazel. From 6th grader from Wilson Middle School. John has increased his grades in all of his core classes and increased his participation greatly. He is much more focused and on task in class each day and is completing his homework really well. He has a love of reading that was first a distraction, but he has found a way to bring all the extra reading he is doing outside of class into classroom work and into discussions, which is helping him to build interest in other classes. Ladies and gentlemen, John Major IV. Third grader from Grover Cleveland. Javion has had a great start to the school year. We have seen much progress from last school year. His behavioral choices are outstanding. His grades have greatly improved, and his attendance continues to be fantastic. We are very proud of Javion's climb to success. Ladies and gentlemen, Javion Maddox. Fourth grader from Connell. Ivion has had a significant improvement in behavior this school year. He comes to school smiling each day and is ready to learn. Not only has he been extremely focused in class, but he continues to work hard each day. Ivion's parents and Connell family are extremely proud of him. Ladies and gentlemen, Ivion Johnson. Second grader from Deal. Diarra, is safe, respectful, and responsible when she is learning in her classroom, She has also not missed a day of school this year. Way to go, Diarra. You make Deal proud. Ladies and gentlemen, Diarra Gamble. Might be the youngest one, second grade. Oh, we got another one. Second grader from Edison. James is on task and follows directions. He volunteers to help out and to assist his fellow classmates. If they are having problems with technology, James helps his classmates efficiently and with a smile. Ladies and gentlemen, James Wiesen Higby. Third grader from Harding. Zakai has improved his behavior significantly since the beginning of the year. He is respectful and focused as a result. His work habits have improved as well as his grades. Zakai has become a real role model for his peers. Ladies and gentlemen, Zakai Lowry. It's a good handshake. Demir is putting much effort into his academics as well as making great decisions. He has all new goals and a positive outlook on being in school and doing his best this year. From Jefferson Elementary School, ladies and gentlemen, Demir Granberry. Great smile. Second grader from Lincoln. David has completely changed his attitude and behavior. He has greatly improved in his academics. He has been a good friend and helper to his peers. It is a pleasure to have David as our Stair Climber Award recipient this month. Ladies and gentlemen, David Ollie Jr. First grader from McKinley. I believe, let me make sure. Yes, this would be the youngest. Ladorian is an asset to his first grade classroom. He is learning a lot, getting good grades, and is a great example for his classmates. Ladies and gentlemen, let me bring down my little cousin, Ladorian Lelendez. It's a great moment. Fifth grader from Perry, Darius Beeson. He is new to Perry School. So far this year, he is working hard academically, avoiding conflict, checking in only once a day with BIS, and just being an all-around good kid. He's smiling more, talking more, and engaging with his peers and me. He is truly a stair climber and has potential to keep heading to the top. Ladies and gentlemen, fifth grader, Darius Beeson. Fifth grader from Piper Burley. He is a positive example to his peers of a respectful, responsible, and safe student. He is responsible for his behaviors, making smart choices daily. He follows directions well, is a kind friend, and a big help to his teachers and peers. Hayden is continuing to work hard in class and is seeing his grades improve. Ladies and gentlemen, our final stair climber, Hayden Clark. Parents, we'll get a large group photo with our photographer, with the board, and after that, we'll have everybody step out and we'll do individual school photos with the parents and the principals. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, the November 2019 Stair Climbers. I don't think I said this, but our stair climber plaques are made by our pre-engineering students at Erie High. So thanks to Mr. Bider, Ms. Mikowski.
Mr. Nixon, I just wanted to thank you again for coming up with this program. I think it was last year, I believe. You've done a tremendous job, and it's one of my favorite things since I've been a board member. Thank you.
Absolutely.
We're going to move on to hearing of citizens. Before we start, because I understand why everybody's here, I just want to make everybody aware that it was removed for the agenda. It will not be voted on, and I believe Monday? Is that, he's going back?
Soon.
Mr. Vera will be back at Collegiate very soon. Now, as far as hearing of citizens, we have no 5-minute speakers. So all others will be allowed to speak for 3 minutes. It's a matter of us listening to you. There's no back and forth. It's us listening to your, whatever you have to say, and I'm more than happy to listen to you. So if anybody would like to speak for 3 minutes, if you come up to the podium, write your name and address on the paper, and please keep it, when you hear the bell, that's your time. Thank you.
Mr. Petrunger?
Yes.
Prior to the beginning of the public speaking opportunity, it would be appropriate to take a vote on the approval of the superintendent's report.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Can I have a motion? A motion by Mr. Spiegel. Second by Darlene. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Thank you, Mr. Wagner.
Recognizable face there.
Go ahead, Mr. Herzig.
Thank you. Jim Herzig, Erie, PA. First of all, I want to thank the board, administration, but Frank, Robbie, Linda, and Bob, who's not here. I served with all of you and appreciate your time that you've done while I was on the board and the time that you've done since I've been gone. When you said about how much you make, what you have to realize is when you retire from the school board, you get 100% of your pay for your pension. So enjoy that.
Thank you.
The reason I'm here is what I wanted to say was when we opened Collegiate Academy umpteen years ago, this district had a vision for that school and the entire district. The vision was to create a premier educational high school and raise the standards of Erie's public schools. That vision came to fruition because of the hard work of the staff, the parents, and most of all, the excellent students, such as Jacob. Everyone that stepped foot in Academy was held to a high standard. That was the norm. That was expected. That is why it's been one of the top high schools in Pennsylvania. That didn't happen by chance. I believe that you've been chipping away at that high standard lately, and the removal of Dean Vieira would have been the biggest and worst piece of that destruction. I did not realize that the teachers' union made administrative decisions for you only because some of their members did not meet or did not want to meet those high standards at Collegiate. You are demoralizing principals who stand up for their schools. You reprimand principals who want to challenge their staff and raise expectations for their students. Others who adhere to, to the status quo are left alone or are moved in order to hide in their inadequacies while maintaining their $100,000 salaries. As a parent of a collegiate graduate and friend of parents and students attending now, I can tell you that the atmosphere is not the same there anymore. It is not the same in several buildings because of what I've mentioned and what you've done. That is a big reason parents are sending their children to other schools, just as my neighbors have, who the administration is aware of. The question I leave you with today is, do you have a vision for Erie's public schools? And if you do, what is it? Thank you.
Hi, my name is Shakina Deloach, and I hate to turn from the good old vibe that we was having to talk about an experience me and my son had to deal with. Me and my family recently went through something that I thought we wouldn't have to experience ever or no time soon. My son was treated like a criminal at his elementary school. After everything was said and done, all I asked was for my son to get an apology from the teachers, his peers, and everything. And that we were told that we'll never get that apology. My baby son is 10 years old. He was traumatized and at a loss for words to why him. As a mom, I would love to take that experience back, but I can't. So with that being said, I'm here to hopefully get an apology to my 10-year-old son for how he was treated as elementary school. And that's all. All I asked for was an apology so he can return safe and not feeling guilty of something that he was accused of. So that's why I was here.
Ma'am, on behalf of the district, I can offer you that apology. And also, if you would stick around tonight and see Ms. Habursky, she's our assistant superintendent. She'll be able to address your issue in much further detail.
Thank you.
Mr. President, real quick, I know we're not allowed to say anything, but Ms. Deloche, can you send me a message, please? All right, thank you.
Anybody else like to speak?
Hello, I'm Sophia Mavica. I'm a senior at Collegiate. I actually spoke to you guys 2 or 3 years ago about the hoodie ban that was previously done. And as much as I'd love to talk about the issue, I feel like maybe I shouldn't beat a dead horse. So instead, I'd like to say that I hope that instead of being angry or upset, that you're proud of the students standing up for what they believed in, for speaking their minds, for trying to do something that they believed was right. And I really hope that no one will get punished for this, because really, it's important to encourage people to speak up when they're young, so that way, when you get older and things become more difficult, you still have that courage to speak up against issues that you think are important. And really, that's all I have to say.
Thank you. Anybody else like to speak?
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Brianna Adams. I graduated from Collegiate Academy in 2007. And I live in this city, and I hope that my kids get the same opportunities that I've had growing up in Erie's public schools. I told you in my email that I would be speaking tonight, and that's why I wanted to stay true to that. And I wanted to thank you, to those of you, for responding to my emails, but more so for removing the resolution to move Dean Vieira from Collegiate Academy and moving other principals around the district in the middle of the school year. I just wanted to share 2 quick personal stories about Collegiate Academy and all that it has meant for myself, my colleagues, and my friends. In the class of 2007, my best friend was ranked dead last, right? So they would let 250 people in the school year, and he was number 250 after the first semester. He can't be here tonight because he works second shift, but he was ready to transfer schools, and his parents were reluctantly looking into that, and the deans at Collegiate Academy are the only reason that he was able to stay there. He improved his GPA and became the top of his class at Slippery Rock University. He now has a successful career with the state. My personal interactions with the deans of academies started when I was in 5th grade, way before I even got to go there. but I was in the geography bee, and my dad encouraged me to tell the newspaper, like, when I grow up or when I get older, I want to go to Collegiate Academy. And Dr. Oliver was the dean at the time, and he sent me a Collegiate Academy polo that I don't think I ever grew into, but I wore it proudly from 5th grade on. Dr. Gornall purchased or found some way to get us a graphing calculator for our family when we were unable to afford it. And Dean Vieira, I never had him as a teacher, but when I came back to help with the Academy 100 preparations for our large celebration, or anytime that I would see him in public or anywhere in the community, he always addressed me by name, knew what I was doing, knew the work that we're trying to do in the community, and I think that that just speaks volumes for how he can treat alumni and students and the current students as a whole. So I know that the resolution was moved from today, and I just wanted to express our gratitude for that, for Dean Vieira, and our hope that that resolution doesn't come back up in the near future. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Catherine Blair. I'm a class of 2006 collegiate graduate. Wanted to also thank you for postponing and hopefully permanently removing the possibility of moving Mr. Vieira away from collegiate. When I took my entrance exam at collegiate, he was the one who gave that to me. He was my civics teacher. I still see him now around town. He still greets me, remembers my name, remembers what I'm doing, like Brianna just reiterated, and collegiate wouldn't have been collegiate without Mr. Vieira, and I believe that's the case still, and I just think that when something of that nature comes about, it really needs to be thought of thoroughly before it just gets thrown into the wind and a decision is made. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Jamelia Gates. I'm class of 2004 at Collegiate Academy. I appreciate that Dean Vieira is back in place, but I just want to speak on behalf of East Middle School. We're also happy to have Sherry Prater still here as our principal, because we are proud to have Ms. Prater here. And East is not the punishment school. It's not the trouble school. We take pride in our students and our faculty and our staff. So I just wanted to make that be known, how we are appreciative to have Sherry Prater here as our principal, because this school would be nothing without Ms. Prater.
Thank you. Anybody else would like to speak?
First of all, I'd like to say that Mr. Vieira is truly a wonderful person, an incredible, considerate dean who has the best interest of all the students, faculty, parents at Collegiate Academy. His influence and presence at Collegiate Academy is what makes students and faculty thrive together as they embrace the model of pride, honor, and respect. Second, Mr. Vieira is excellent as the dean. Our 4 children, David, class of 2008, Rose, class of 2010, Donna, class of 2013, and Michael, class of 2017, they were all blessed to have gone to school at Collegiate Academy, where the environment was positive and the support from Mr. Vieira was always present. Mr. Vieira is a gift to each student as he welcomes and respects all, fostering higher education goals to enable students to reach their full potential so as to leave collegiate upon graduation to pursue their individual dreams. Third, we believe it would have been a monumental mistake, meaning not in the best interest of the students, faculty, or community, to remove Mr. Vieira from his position as dean. Mr. Vieira is doing the best for the students of Collegiate Academy, as well as for the faculty and parents. I'm so grateful that you have not saddened our hearts or for the students, the parents, or the faculty by disrupting Collegiate's academic success and environment. Because we all want Mr. Vieira to remain as the Dean of Collegiate, where he will continue to make a positive difference, enabling the students to excel, reach higher, and become the best version of themselves they can be. Finally, thankful that we have what Collegiate Academy needs, which is Mr. Vieira, because he is a role model. He's a humble servant, a man of integrity who has vision for Collegiate, thus making our community where we live a better place. And we do thank you for your consideration and your change of mind and heart to keep Mr. Vieira at Collegiate Academy. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else would like to speak?
My daughter already spoke, so my name is Frank Mavica, Sophia's father. It's not only about Mr. Vieira, it's about the school, it's about the other schools. There's people that are proud of all their principals at their schools, and they think they do a good job. But there's something special. I've never been at a school where the administrator wears a bow tie, and all of a sudden, bunches of students are wearing bow ties to school. Like, not even to show you their support, but actually part of their wardrobe. Like, they emulate what he stands for, what he is, what he does. You know, it's more than that. And to hear that people were upset because he expects too much, we know you guys work very hard at trying to get the balanced budget and trying to do things, but I don't know that people appreciate the amount of work that goes into being a student at Collegiate. Those kids give up weekends, holidays. My daughter does homework at birthday parties for her cousins. They work really hard to get that. And to just in the middle of the school year, just decide with almost no notice that you're gonna try and take that away from these kids that work that hard, it's ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. I'm very happy that you changed your minds, but please consider this. If it comes up in the future, that, you know, these kids, they sacrifice a lot. And, you know, you guys are making strides, all these stair climbers, I mean, that's amazing. But we should be focusing on that instead of focusing on political shenanigans and things that just are not necessary at this time. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else like to speak? Thank you all for your comments.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I'd like to make a few comments. I came here tonight, prior to tonight, I expected I was going to have a lot more to say, but with the outcome that we're at right now, I'll suppress some of that, but I'm not going to forget some things that are going to stay in my mind. I've been aroused by the situation that developed and the display of pride and caring for the school. And the situation is touched me deeply emotionally. I do think, based on a few things I heard, I still would feel better if we heard some kind of assurance or a statement that this isn't just a temporary thing to quiet the situation down. I did not see any of the media reports. I was told not long ago that it was on the news that the superintendent had withdrawn that recommendation, and you know, I still have some concerns that that be put to rest with a little more certainty, and that it happen here somehow, not on the news, not in emails between us, but so that it's on the record that we're past this, and Mrs. Prater's going to stay put, and Mr. Vieira is going to stay put, and we're going to try to pick up where we left off and keep going forward. I don't know specifically who or what is going to do it, whether it's a vote of confidence by us board members or what it's going to take, but I'd feel better if we put it to rest more fully. And I ask for that.
Mr. President,
Yes.
to address Mr. Harkin's concern, as I said earlier tonight in executive session, I'm here to execute the will of the board. The board has spoke. They have expressed their opinions on this matter, and I will honor that opinion and execute the will of the board by leaving Mr. Vieira at Collegiate as dean.
Am I to understand it was on the media that past practice of the board approving such things will continue or was a factor here, Mr. Solicitor?
I don't believe I understand your question, Mr. Harkins.
We were told in executive session that the superintendent could make such a move without board approval, and I don't want that to happen anytime soon. So I thought, I was led to believe that it was on the media that the past practice of us approving lateral transfers would continue, and that was a factor in that respect for that and lack of votes to support this particular move led to the withdrawal of the resolution. Am I interpreting it wrong, or?
Mr. Harkins, I believe it would be accurate to say that it has been the past practice of the various superintendents over at least the last 30 to 40 years to have the school board approve administrative assignments and principals. And there is currently nothing before the board to change that practice, and there's been no indication that that will be changed at this time.
But we were told by a representative of your office that the school code allowed a superintendent to make a lateral move, and we had no say in it. And if someone chooses to take that interpretation in the near future, that's what I'm looking to settle in my own mind.
The school code is clear, Mr. Harkins. Excuse me.
Please.
The school code is clear, Mr. Harkins, that is the appointment or dismissal or the setting of compensation of principals and other certain administrators is the purview of the school board. However, the academic assignment of those individuals is the prerogative of the superintendent. However, in this particular case, at the Erie School District, for one reason or another, there has been a practice over the last 30 or 40 years for the school board to approve those assignments. So until such time
at least 40.
At least 40.
Yeah.
So until such time as that practice is changed, it shall remain.
Thank you.
Okay, but there is a conflict there with the school code if someone chooses to make it so. I can't help but say this. If I had a bow tie, I would have worn it tonight.
We are going to move forward.
Mr. President?
Yes.
Before we move on, I just want to compliment the students for your engagement and participation in civil discourse. I've always taught my students to use their voices, and I heard from many of you. But there's also a lesson to be learned here today, and I don't want us to leave here this evening without looking at what all that happened. And unfortunately, an email was sent that should never have been sent. And that started the wheels turning in this situation. I admire your respect for Mr. Vieira, and obviously it is well-deserved. But let's not forget also that happened, and so let's all learn from it. So I'd like to read this quote to you, and especially to the students, so that you learn, everything that you possibly can from the situation that occurred as you move forward. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. And in that space is our power to choose our response. And in our response lies growth and our freedom. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. President?
Yes.
Don't get annoyed when it
I'm
comes
not,
to
I
me.
said yes. Go ahead.
Okay, so my daughter does attend Collegiate Academy. And this decision would have affected her directly. And I do get a lot of what I know that goes on at Collegiate from my child, who's in 11th grade at Collegiate Academy. I have to respect Darlene for that comment that she just made to make things a little more clear as to this not being just a knee-jerk thing that anyone, not even saying us or anyone, has decided to do. There was things that occurred that led to some of the things, and without going into any detail, just knowing that, you know, we were able to come to this decision and, you know, everything is being left the same in the middle of the school year. Yes, it would have been a hard situation to change anything or to do things so quickly, but at the same time, I do respect her comment that, you know, things did happen, things did occur, and I felt like today was a very messy day. It was a lot that was done, said, and reports that were made that were not directly from the school board. I want to make that clear as well. You know, some of these things, the things that I found out from social media. You know, some of these news reports and things like that were not even, you know, things that should have got leaked to the public. You know, they were things that were still under discussion with the board. So I just want to make that clear too. No one here in particular hopefully leaked anything to the media, but some of those things that got leaked were things that were not supposed to be public so that we could have time to deliberate about what we needed to do. So I just want to say thank you, Darlene, for, you know, making things a little bit more clear about what occurred today, and hopefully, and I'm glad it's over, and hopefully, you know, we as a board can make these decisions together a little better and more quiet without, you know, things being leaked and, you know, causing emotions and things to stir up. So.
Thank you. Well, now I do feel the need to say something.
Okay.
Okay. And I know Jimmy understands because he sat up here. Being in these positions is not an easy task. It is a lot of pressure, it's a lot of decisions, and we're hated no matter what we do, okay? And this man here is doing a great job. This wasn't a knee-jerk reaction. Something took place. We cannot discuss it. He acted on it. We all have to be accountable, just as the students have to be accountable. I know many kids that went to collegiate and maybe didn't do the right thing and got booted or whatever it may be. We came to this decision. It's over. This is a good man up here. He's got a good vision for this district. And I just hope you all can move on from this and we can just keep getting better and better. Thank you.
Frank, can I say one more thing?
Go ahead.
I want to reinforce my shared belief in the exact same thing, that Mr. Polito has done a remarkable job. He's a very caring, honorable man and a very competent administrator. He's done marvelous things for us. This situation, as Darlene said in the meeting, I believe it was Darlene, it may have been Tyler, that we've all learned something from this. Hopefully, everyone, the students have learned to fight for what you believe in, but hopefully Mr. Vieira learned something too. We all have. I know I've learned some lessons and I'm not going to forget them. So as Angela McNair said, Darlene said, we go forward, we learn from this. Let's make it a good thing that we go forward, all having learned from it, and full speed ahead and nothing look back. But yes, you're right. I don't want anything disparaging said or thought by me of the superintendent. He has my utmost respect.
Thank you. I do want you all to know I did read every email. You gave me a lot of reading. Thank you. Yes.
I've been very quiet.
I know you have.
And I've
I'm
been-
surprised. Go ahead.
I guess, real quickly, accountability should not be avoided and responsibility should not be deflected. All those things should not be carried by the students, and I don't think that they should ever have to bear the load of decisions adults make. There was a lot of rapid fire and there was a lot of information that went around, and this was a lot to process very fast. But there is accountability that needs to be had. And I did differ from the superintendent on this. That being said, my confidence has not wavered one iota in what this administration believes in and the strategic plan that they're moving forward. I have a lot of respect for what he has done and what they're going to do together as a team. I just wanted to take note too, I am incredibly blown away by the students. I'm always blown away by the students. You did a wonderful job utilizing your voice and doing exactly what we're trying to show you through leadership. And we're not all going to agree. In fact, a lot of times we don't agree, but we come to that civil discourse and we process through that together. All that, again, being said is I don't want us to lose faith in what we have set into motion strategic plan-wise, and there has been so much work done, and the board and the team is moving in a great direction in a lot of areas. I am happy that the students aren't going to face a lot of disruption this school year. I don't think that that was fair for them to have to, again, to bear the weight of the adult responsibility. I do hope that we all take away and we learn a lot from this. This shook all of us to our core. It changed a lot of us sitting up on this board, and we learned a lot in this process. So I guess I wanted to reiterate all of that I still very much believe in the direction that this district is heading, and that is being charged by this board and by this administration.
Thank you.
Right.
Yes.
Just so I can pile on. One, thank you, all of you, for being here, whether you're students, certainly, or parents, or staff. We have a great school district here. We're often comparing ourselves to our peers, to whether it's in-state, in city, in the county, or what have you, but we really have a very, very good school district. That's why that's why we're here. That's why my children, some of us still have children that attend school. And going along the path, whether it's a friendship, a marriage, a business relationship, there's always bumps in the road. This is nothing but a mere bump in the road. Collegiate Academy is a fine institution, and it'll continue to be a fine institution, mostly because of the admin, the teachers, and certainly the students. We'll go through this. This is, within a day, we're going to be thinking about the next thing. How we're going to spend our extra money, yay, all those fun things. So this is nothing more than a bump of the road. We'll be dealing with contract negotiations and buildings, whatever the heck we're doing. So I appreciate everybody being involved. I look forward to everybody going forward and continuing to do the good work that everybody here has done. So thank you.
Yes, go ahead.
One more thing. I thank you, Tom. And I just want to say that Brian is, since I've been working with him, one of the most honest and stand-up people for what he needs to believe in for our district. But I also appreciate the fact that we created a strategic plan with our community. Our whole community participated in this strategic plan. And I appreciate him for sticking to the strategic plan. And I'm hoping that all of our staff and all of our students and all of the community members and everyone else involved remembers that we do have that strategic plan, that we all plan together, and things need to fall in line with this plan for our district. And I will support Brian in whatever he feels deemed necessary to make sure that we stick to our strategic plan that we all created together.
Thank you. Okay. Are you going to stay quiet? I know you're not. Come on.
I wasn't going to speak, and I made a statement that I wasn't going to speak, but now, we're getting throughout this whole process. All I want to say is this. I hope that you all understand that when we make decisions, okay, there's a lot of factors that are put into our privy to make those decisions, okay? I have a great respect for Mr. Polito and the position of superintendent. When you are superintendent, you pick your administrative, we hired the superintendent. That's our job. His job is to hire the best team and to put that team and utilize them in the positions that he feels is the best place to be. Now, I understand the heartfelt feelings that all the students put forth, all the parents put forth, and I'm sure, like the girl from East also had feelings about Miss Prater. All people who work within the school district have support of the people that they've touched their lives. And it's a beautiful thing, it's a wonderful thing. And I was also touched by all of it. But I also want you to know that the same feelings that you have about, that you expressed to me about Mr. Vieira, I feel about Mr. Polito, and Mr. Polito was trying to do his job as superintendent and produce the best results for all the students within the school district. All the students within the Erie School District. So that's all I have to say. I like Jim Vieira. I like a lot of people. I'm a happy-go-lucky kind of guy, okay? But that's not what this was about. This was about a man that gets to, that's his job. He's the superintendent, he picks his team, and he decides where they best serve the students of the city of Erie. I felt that I should give him my vote in that confidence. It was nothing against Mr. Vieira. It was nothing against any of the Collegiate Academy students, staff, parents, nothing of that nature. So I'm going to stop talking now. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes. Oh, Jacob, go ahead.
If I may, I just wanted to say something on behalf of the students of Collegiate Academy, being the student rep for this evening. First of all, we've all learned a lot in this process, especially the students, from our support from our family and community. We've learned how to use our voices, and I think that you'll find that we participate a lot more in the upcoming future. We're optimistic about the rest of the school year and about the future for this district, and we're active and energized to participate in it. Most of all, we're kind of just excited to return next week to school with Mr. Vieira back where he belongs. Finally, I just wanted to say that I think you can tell that Collegiate means a lot to its students and alumni, and I think that that's a testament to the hard work of its staff and teachers, and those who put so much of themselves into the school. And from the students of Collegiate, we just hope that our hard work means just as much to the district. Thank you.
Absolutely does. Okay, we're going to move on to reports of committees and liaisons. After all that, does anybody have anything?
Frank?
Yes.
I'm not an official committee member, but I was working with, in touch with the several people who were working on this Bletnikoff sign restoration and renewal, and they were to have been here tonight to present the image that they found and wanted to have our blessing on, but the events of today just didn't allow it, so it'll be pending. But Mr. Kissel and Mr. White met with a sign maker, and they all were very pleased and happy with the outcome, and are eager to show it to us. And then because it's not a school district project, it's a gift that they're funding to take under their wing to execute a replacement of the sign for us. They just are very happy with the image that they have, and they unveil it soon to us and the public. So it's moving along.
Thank you, sir. If no one else, I'll take a motion to accept. Motion by Mr. Spiegel.
Second.
Second by Mrs. Feeney. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? We have no unfinished business. We'll move on to new business.
I move we approve the new business and the supplemental new business before us.
Motion by Mr. Harkins for the new business and supplemental business. Second by Tyler. Speak up. Any discussion?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Item 606, Erie Education Association Master Contract, effective July 1, 2019 through June 30, 2021. I questioned in the executive session before this whether the provision that was brought to light by the email from Mr. Vieira, that being the memorandum of agreement going back to a contract in the late 1990s, I asked for some assurance that that was not being removed or significantly altered in this contract. I was given assurance that it was not removed, it remains intact, and on that basis, I'll support this. Had I found out otherwise, I would have
Mr.
separated
Harkin?
this and voted against it.
I think you're misunderstood. Can you explain?
Appendix 15 to the EEA contract is being removed. I believe that the impact of the removal was minimal, is what the discussion was.
How long is Appendix 15 to read? Is it too long to read right now?
Find it and pull it back up.
It'll serve no purpose to spend too much time on it. I just, if I don't have assurance that that's, if I'm unsure and that's at risk, I want to separate this so I can vote against it.
The proposal that is before the board does have Appendix 15 being removed.
What does the change, what's the resultant change? What is lost, what is gained?
Mr. Harkins, as we discussed, we no longer feel that the appendix is necessary because when that was put in place, we didn't have an evaluation system for our staff that is as strong as it is in place today. Based on that, we feel that we currently hold all our teachers to a higher standard than is called for in that appendix, and by removing it will not affect the operations of collegiate at all.
My concern is that the original language set collegiate apart and gave us a special prerogative to treat consideration of applicants for teaching positions there differently, and that's what set the school apart, and it was hard fought and it was hard won, and I don't want it to slip away, and so I have to admit I'm not as reassured as I was an hour ago. I know no one's going to join me, so okay, no further.
Mr. Spiegel?
Well, I'll just say this is what I said in executive session, that the responsibility is really on us, the board members, we the board members, to make sure that we have a superintendent in place that will ensure his administrative staff has an evaluation system that's in place, that the administrators, the principals, who are, some of whom are present here, properly evaluate the teachers. One of the problems in the past is every teacher's the best teacher ever. They get great A's, yay, they're the best teacher ever. And I don't care whether you're a bricklayer or you make pasta for a living, some people just aren't the best. And that is the responsibility of the principals to weed out those bad teachers. My children go to school, and I care the most about my children's education as well as everybody else, certainly my own. And I would be very upset if I found out that a principal, junior high school, grade school, preschool, doesn't make a difference to me, is just letting somebody slide. And there's a lot of responsibility on the principals to make sure those teachers, of whom we have a great many very, very, very good teachers, but we just need to make sure, same thing with you parents that are here. If you see that your students are not getting the best education, the best resource, the best time that your students truly deserve, it is your responsibility to bring it up to one, the teacher first, and then to their administrator, and then if necessary to us, so we can make sure it happens. That's how I feel is, in the past, maybe things have been let slide a little bit, because everybody's the best. That's not the case, we all know that. But now, as I understand it, Mr. Polito, certainly Ms. Oberski in the past, now Teresa Zumagella, wherever she happens to be somewhere, I don't know. And they have tools in place to ensure not just collegiate, but all the grade schools, junior high schools, and high schools have competent and just the best teachers for our students. Is that correct? So I think that's how I am, as I wrestle with that, John, and I agree with you. I want collegiate to stay as super as they are. But having said that, all of our students in all of our schools need the same respect and the same care as collegiate.
One more time for me, I'm allowed. As I said in the executive session, that was a hard-fought, hard-won concession from the union. The district conceded a lot to them at the time in the late 1990s to get that in there, and it helped set the school apart and launch its success. And I don't like to know that it's being given up, thrown away. That's my concern, and I have a little less confidence in that at the moment, but I also realize that the train's moving.
Okay. Roll call.
Mr. Spiegel?
This is just for 6, correct?
No, this
No,
is
it's
for all
all
of it.
all of it.
Yeah, and supplemental.
I didn't
Yeah.
separate.
Correct.
You didn't separate?
No.
I just want to talk about, at some point, the charter school. We're going to bring that up.
That's on there already. That's in there.
So, should I say yes?
Well, no, if you do, you're not gonna be able to talk, you can talk about it later.
Well, I just want to make sure at some point we discuss the charter schools. I think it's appropriate to discuss that. Maybe, would this be somebody else
It's in
be
there,
better?
so you can discuss it now.
Okay, perhaps then maybe Tim, I know there's a lot of questions about the charter schools and Erie Rise.
He's leaning over to Neil.
All right, I just want to make sure that that's thrown out there so everything is transparent, so we can address that issue, that's all.
Feel free.
That was a lot.
Back to me. I'm trying to pull it up here. The school district entered into negotiations with Erie Rise Leadership Academy to come up with a resolution that would allow for the renewal of the charter with Erie Rise. The terms of the renewal held true to the resolution, to the joint statement issued by the board and the administration in the September 11, 2019 school board meeting. There were some adjustments made for some allowances on the academic achievement at the request of Erie Rise, and the school district administration and Erie Rise found those to be reasonable. There were, this is a renewal of the charter for a period of 5 years through June 30, 2024, with an improvement plan included. The improvement plan requires continued compliance with the Sunshine Act with respect to the holding of monthly meetings, and the manner in which meetings are run, compliance with the Ethics Act, compliance with the due process requirements of the suspension and expulsion procedures, and with the allowance of some board training and oversight opportunities for the board. Those are the governance side of the improvement plan. There's a surrender clause that is associated with that states that in the event that the school board determines that there is a pattern of a series or pattern of violations of those acts or requirements at such time that the charter is up for renewal, and following a hearing on the same, should the board make the determination to not renew, the charter school would not have a right of appeal from that determination. That is the result of that being repeated issues that were addressed in prior improvement plans and the Auditor General's report. Under the educational side of the improvement plan, the renewed charter would require class sizes of no greater than 25 students and with an enrollment of no more than 440 school district of the City of Erie students enrolled at Erie Rise Leadership Academy School during the course of the charter. It is recognized today that there are some classes that have more than 25 per class, and that there is a total of 441 Erie School District students enrolled within Erie Rise. They would not be permitted to have any more than that for this school year, and at the beginning of next school year and throughout the duration of the charter, it would be expected that they would have the 25 student class limit and an enrollment of no more than 440. The charter school is to develop and implement a new technology plan. There are additionally academic performance requirements that were put in place into the improvement plan. The targets for the academic performance are taken from the Every Student Succeeds Act 2030 state goals and interim targets. These are the goals issued by the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania for every school, not just charter school, but every school in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. There's an expectation that they're going to hit a certain level of proficiency in the ELA, math, and science PSSAs by 2030. The percentages that were offered and agreed to between the parties will ensure that the Erie Rise will be substantially compliant with those 2030 goals. And the school district worked with Erie Rise in obtaining those percentages. There's additional attendance requirements in that Erie Rise is to hit certain attendance percentages during the course of the charter. And there is a surrender clause that is also required in there, indicating that during what will ultimately be the 2022-2023 school year, the final results for performance for the 2021-22 school year will be available and made public. It is during that 22-23 school year that the school district will review to see if the charter school has hit those targets. If they have not hit the targets, then the charter school has agreed to surrender its charter at the end of the 22-23 school year. Lastly, and as discussed with the attorney from the charter school, and as it is standard practice, the Charter School Board of Trustees will be required to adopt this improvement plan within the next 30 days and provide us with a signed copy of the same. And if they do not, the board retains its right to rescind this resolution and move forward with a non-renewal. I would like to say on a personal note, it was a pleasure to work with the attorney, Attorney Fitzpatrick, for Erie Rise. I enjoyed our conversations and our banter back and forth. His professionalism was a testament to the profession.
Thank you. Roll call, please. What?
Should we wait to say something or say it now if it has to do with? Now. See how Frank get annoyed every time it's me?
No, not you. I'm talking about him. Yeah, I'm not annoyed at you at all.
Okay. So I would just like to say, just a, real simple, I just look forward to, as a district, working with this school to help make sure that we provide the support that they need. I'm looking forward to making sure I'm hovering Mr. Brockman to make sure that we're, giving them the support, and I'm hoping that Erie Rise, does whatever they need. I can, see the spirit of the school, feeling like they are ready to, put the pedal to the metal on the things that they need to work on too. So hopefully this could be a partnership more than anything, so that those students can remain in place where they are and feel comfortable at, and so that the district can also feel confident in knowing that we have students that are attending. And I just hope that the relationship moves forward in a positive way from here. And I would like to thank Mr. Polito for just all of his efforts and listening to all of our mouths, including especially mine, on this matter. So, with that being said, hopefully, you know, everything can get where it needs to be with Erie Rise in these next 5 years, and we can work together to make sure that things work out.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Yes.
Yes.
I sat next to Mr. Polito for the long hours of the hearing, and I was moved, impressed, and uplifted by his response to the situation. He was very affected by what he heard, and he was very determined to find a way through it, knowing and saying that those kids caught in the middle of it all were important, and he dedicated himself to find a way through it, and it took a lot of extra work, but he was driven by a sincere motivation to do good, and he did it. I salute him for that.
Thank you. Now we can have a roll call.
Mr. Spiegel?
Yes.
Mr. Titus?
Yes.
Mrs. Alexandrovich? Mr. Fabrizi?
Yes.
Mrs. Feeney?
Yes.
Mr. Harkins?
Yes.
Mrs. McNair? Mr. Petrunger?
Yes. Approval of the minutes for October 16th, 2019. Motion?
I move we accept them.
Motion by Ms. Feeney, second by Mr. Spiegel. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Bills and payroll?
Move we pay them.
Moved by Mr. Harkins, second by Mr. Spiegel. And when you catch up, take a roll call.
Mr. Spiegel?
Yes.
Mr. Titus?
Yes.
Mrs. Alexandrovich? Mr. Fabrizi?
Yes.
Mrs. Feeney?
Yes.
Mr. Harkins?
Yes.
Mrs. McNair? Mr. Petrunger?
Yes. Report of the secretary?
Move we accept it.
Moved by
Approve it.
Mr. Harkins, second by Mr. Spiegel. Any discussion? Roll call when you're ready.
Mr. Spiegel?
Yes.
Mr. Titus?
Yes.
Mrs. Alexandrovich? Mr. Fabrizi?
Yes.
Mrs. Feeney?
Yes.
Mr. Harkins?
Yes.
Mrs. McNair? Mr. Petrunger?
Yes. Awards on bids.
Mr. Chairman, I move we make the award that's written before us about a Fanuc Advanced Intelligent Robot. Or
Moved by-
approved equal for Erie High.
Yes. Moved by Mr. Harkins,
Second.
second by Ms. Feeney.
Discussion.
Any discussion?
Mr. Brockman, what is a Fanuc Advanced Intelligent Robot?
I had a feeling you would ask. So it's for our welding lab at Erie High. Many of our students who have gone out on co-op have gone into the field, and this is a piece of equipment that they have been asked to use. And currently, the welding lab does not have this. So it is legitimately a robotic arm that is used for welding. And so this will allow our students to practice using this piece of equipment that they have found they're using out there in the field.
Is it done for safety purposes or fine work or?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Roll call.
Mr. Spiegel?
Yes.
Mr. Titus?
Yes.
Mrs. Alexandrovich? Mr. Fabrizi?
Yes.
Mrs. Feeney?
Yes.
Mr. Harkins?
Yes.
Mrs. McNair? Mr. Petrunger?
Yes. Any other matter? If not, for the last time, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Let me make that motion, please.
Motion by Mr. Fabrizi. Second by Mr. Spiegel. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Meeting's adjourned.